So if you haven't heard yet, Valve made a little change to the boxes outside of CT spawn. While this might not look like a big deal at first glance, you can actually boost yourself up onto cat for an aggressive mid play. Gone are the days of begging your teammates to fast cat you. So how is this going to impact the meta? First, let's go ahead and look at how the timings are going to work out. Before we get down to testing that though, we're going to need to know the fastest way to jump up. Now, I'm definitely not a movement player, but I do think the fastest way to get up these boxes isn't going to be jumping right on top of here. It's going to be moving past this one and crouch jumping on top of this position, then making a simple jump up to here, and then crouch jumping up to finish off. Now, all together in one motion, it's going to end up looking something more like this, where you're just jumping straight up and then moving on up towards cat. So now let's take a side-by-side view at best spawn versus best spawn timings. If the T-sided player takes the best safe spawn, as you can see, the CT player is able to peek all the way out towards cat before the T's made it around the close corner. Now, if you want to make it even harder for the T's at the beginning of the round, you can have a teammate go into this corner and go up to the right of this wooden block where it would line up with this piece right here, and do a simple left click with a flash, and that thing is going to demolish anyone running up cat without any time to react whatsoever. And it's not going to blind your teammates at all. So it's a perfect flash to throw for someone peeking off of an aggressive cat play. One more thing to remember is that if the T is an absolute menace and decides to run straight through suicide, well, they're going to be able to beat you to that corner by a long shot and completely mow you down. Another thing to keep in mind is the fact that if two players move up to cat quickly, they can now boost up and peek into lower before the T's can make it down there. This is a common play in the pro scene, but now it's much easier since you don't have to have a third player boost you up. So if you're a T and you're actually able to take control of short, now let's talk about how these changes have affected the Vanguard smokes. If you don't know what these were, back in CSGO, the team of Vanguard pioneered a new way to push up cat, which would consist of two smokes. The first of which you would just go right here into the middle of this doorway and do a simple left click throw at the top of this mark above the window. Very simple, and this one has not changed one bit. It's gonna land right here, and we can slip on past, not worrying about car. Now, the second smoke used to land on top of this dumpster, and the way you would throw that is by coming into this corner and doing a simple left click throw in the middle of this flower here. That would land on top, but if you'll notice, it actually drops way down here, but surprisingly, it still kind of works. It still works out all right, it blooms fine, so when you combine both of these smokes, believe it or not, they still work out okay. However, one thing that I would like to mention is that if you're passing through here, you may still be spotted by car. There's still a decent sized gap around this area. So what I recommend doing, if you don't want to worry about that at all, instead of aiming in the middle of this flower, just move your crosshair up to the top of where this thicker wire intersects with the window. And if you'll notice, that smoke's going to land on top of the ledge here, and it's going to bloom out way further left, allowing you to cross all the way over to here without ever getting exposed to car, especially if they're standing all the way down in this corner, right? Now, they could jump up top and spot you, but that's a little bit less likely since they're going to be way more exposed. Now, if you're not planning on throwing the Vanguard smokes, maybe you're just wanting to put pressure on site by yourself, you're going to want to make sure you don't forget about this angle here. It's definitely going to be an issue. Now, if you don't even want to clear that at all, you can get stuck into this corner right here and do a simple left click throw at the far right of this umbrella. That molly is going to hit the guy right in the face and completely molly off this position. If he's not standing there, it's going to land a little bit cleaner and just bank off of this back wall and completely engulf this entire region in flames. This is also beneficial if you're just planning on pushing on through, because that means they can't jump up and peek you late. So before I move on and talk about retaking the A bomb site, I want to thank today's sponsor, SkinsMonkey. So, SkinsMonkey is an automated CS2 trading site that provides an instant way for you to get new skins. All you have to do is select your old skins that you don't want anymore and then pick out some fresh ones to trade for. It's as easy as that. And right now you could get a free $5 if you use code TACTICS on the site. And finally, you could get up to a 35% deposit bonus when using my code. So thanks again to SkinsMonkey for sponsoring this video. Links in the description. Alright, so when it comes to retaking the A bomb site now, obviously this is a great route to take if you're stuck over here towards CT. You're going to be able to jump up and actually take fights on site, which is insane. However, you've probably noticed this is extremely exposed. Now, a lot of times the T's are going to re-smoke the cross so they can freely move between A site and long. However, they're probably going to stop doing that since it's going to give you a little bit of cover. Also, even if that smoke's down, you're still at risk of getting peeked from someone in this position. So that's why I recommend, if you're planning on going up these boxes, to throw a smoke off the left side of this mark right here, a nice little run throw, and that's going to end up landing right here and completely smoking off this position. So anyone peeking from here is not going to be able to see you until you've jumped all the way up. You could even be standing on this box right here, and if you'll notice, a peek from this angle is not going to be able to see anything. Another thing I really like about this sort of lurk smoke that you can use to get back up onto site is the fact that if the T's have re-smoked cross, well, you're going to be very safe to throw some utility. So you can actually go on the right side of this little wall and do a simple left and right click jump throw from the middle of this R all the way to the left side of this square. And that's going to end up banking off the back here and completely mollying off all of the cover on site, so that when you jump up here with the smoke, you don't have to worry about this angle at all. And of course, your teammates on Cat could also help you out by throwing the good old-fashioned pizza molly. That's going to make your job a whole heck of a lot easier. Also, along with that, if they want to help you get up there, if maybe you don't have a smoke, they could get alongside the corner here and do a simple jump throw at this black mark, and that's going to end up landing to the left of these baskets, completely smoking off all of this area so that you can safely jump up without having to worry about anyone deeper on site towards Goose, and you can work your way out with them and push through the smoke. Now, this is a little bit risky. A good CT player is probably just going to get inside of the smoke and time you out, so make sure you don't throw this late into the retake. So to negate all of that, I think it's going to be way more common for the T's to throw this smoke where they crouch down, aim at this corner, stand up, and left click throw instead of the cross smoke. This smoke is a very deep CT smoke. I think it's going to be vital to take control of elevator in this region, cutting off this sort of rotate lane. I think taking deeper control is going to be completely meta now, as opposed to just smoking cross and getting up on site, since now the CT players that are close that would generally be out of the site, well, they're going to be able to very quickly get up in here and get involved in the defense. And if your team is still throwing the standard smoke for cross, I definitely recommend, once that lands, just making sure that you're mollying off that position. I think the easiest way to do that would just be to left click at the top of this building. That should land right here on top of these boxes, completely mollying it off. So yeah, guys, that just about covers everything that I can think of so far. I'm sure once we start seeing the first official professional matches on this, we're going to see all sorts of innovative ways that the pros are going to be using these new timings. Who knows what the mid-meta is going to shape up to be. But anyways, it's pretty crazy how just such a small change can cause such a big ripple effect. If you enjoyed this video or you feel like you learned something, go ahead and hit that like button or leave a comment, or maybe even consider subscribing. If you want to support me, go ahead and click that Skins Monkey link down in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next one.